have a guest here today. Welcome to SoundPlex Studios. Hello, welcome to SoundPlex Studios. We're in Studio A, and we're here for another Local Lens podcast with Denise Brough of TooMushLove. We're going to talk a little bit about psychedelics, and really, because it's such a dynamic space right now with all the new news, we thought it'd be a kind of a good plan to get everyone up to date with the state of the industry, because I think, and we're going to be doing these more often, probably once every 2 months, because right now there's a lot of things happening in this space, and we think it would be a great idea for you guys or you folks out there to kind of tune in and keep an eye out on our YouTube page for these podcasts on a frequent basis, because Denise is really tied into the whole psychedelic space now, and we're going to talk about some of the updates that have happened recently in the news that some of you guys are familiar with, but maybe not. But I'm going to introduce Denise now because she has a lot of experience, and she's been in this industry for a good long time. So I'll let her do a quick introduction, and we'll have some questions. And then hopefully by the end of this broadcast, you'll have a good idea of where we are today with psychedelics being used for clinical therapies, et cetera. And then, like I said, keep in touch with our YouTube page. It's the SoundPlex, and you're on it now. So stay tuned, and you'll get some new information coming out probably in the next 30 to 60 days. So Denise, give us a little introduction. I know everyone kind of knows who you are, but give us a little background update, and we'll get into the Q&A.
Okay, I own TooMushLove, psychedelic healing. We work with psilocybin, 5-MeO-DMT, MDMA. I came from a construction engineering background, fell into this for personal reasons, and have been doing it ever since. It's about 7 years. I love it. It's extremely helpful for a lot of people that just cannot get help in other areas.
Yeah, and you went to school for this, didn't you? You went up in Canada, so you have you're certified in something.
Yeah, there's all kinds of certifications. The education certification is like the wild, wild west. There's a million courses, but there's no legal degree or anything like that. So, but yes, I did my training for 5-MeO in Vancouver. I've done a lot of training in Mexico, all over the country, really. Just every kind of possible course and certification on safety, on harm reduction, on the different type of psychedelics, integration, all of that.
And you've had a lot of experience with that, with clients, et cetera. So it gives you, you're speaking from a position of being educated on really the positive effects of these medicines.
Yes.
Or these plant medicines.
Yes.
So let's kind of get right into it, because I know recently there's been stuff in the news. I mean, even at the highest level, President Trump, declared that this was going to be something that they were going to take a look at, the FDA, et cetera. So let's talk about that. So there's been a huge shift in this public conversation around psychedelics lately. And I think very recently, that news was about 30 days ago. What do you think? What's the motivation and what's driving the change? And be completely transparent with us. I'd like to get your input on this.
Okay.
Go for it.
So Rick Perry and Brian Hubbard went on to the Joe Rogan show.
Yes, I listened to that.
They're very huge advocates of ibogaine and psychedelic therapy, especially for veterans.
Yep.
So Rick Perry was the governor of Texas.
Yes.
He's been pushing. He got a lot of money funded. Brian Hubbard's background is in law, but he came from Kentucky. Well, he came from Virginia, West Virginia, and then went to Kentucky and just saw a lot of opioid abuse. So he now runs very large organizations, nonprofit, pushing. He got a lot of the funding from the opioid settlements to be pushed into ibogaine and psychedelic research. So those two went on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was so moved by their stories. I mean, Rick Perry's gone to Mexico. He's gone and watched treatments. They've both been involved and seen what it's done. I mean, it's really for severe PTSD,
right,
treatment-resistant depression, traumatic brain injury. These are things that you're seeing a lot in the veteran community. Suicidality, I mean, the death rate of suicide is so high. So he was so moved that he, at the end of it, from my understanding in my community, the two of those guys said to him, will you call the White House and do something? And he did. And he said, I just think we need to do something. So they allotted $50 million um, through the HHS, the Health and Human Services, through the FDA to push psychedelics at this point that have had breakthroughs. So, like Compass 360, they have a psilocybin. USANA is working with psilocybin. The ibogaine. So they're the ones that have already gotten through breakthroughs is what they're really pushing the money for. But bottom line, it's just one, it's helping break the stigma,
Yep.
and two, now that you're getting government money, you're going to get private money. You're going to get
Yep.
private investors. You're going to get big companies. You're going to get healthcare companies. So that's really the thing. This is sort of the beginning of a rolling stone.
Yeah, it looks like they just turned the burner on and they put it at high.
Yeah.
And that means everything's going to, like you said, the money's just follow the money, and the money's going to come in, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, all these like research things are going to be done, and it's going to happen fast because some of the results that are coming out on this ibogaine for this is off the charts. I mean,
Oh,
when you have
it's very
80%
powerful.
positive results, numbers like that, you can't poo-poo that, for lack of a better word.
Mm-mm.
You have to really look hard at that. And I think, and you can have your opinion on Trump, and to me, I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland, but he is a man of action. And when Rogan calls him and tells him these things, and I'm sure Trump's been detailed on what this is all about from his staff, but Rick Perry, he's been very active in this for some time now,
Yeah.
and he's moving that line, and it's been very positive. So I think that's great for the industry and great for the folks that are suffering, and they're feeding these drugs that just aren't doing anything,
Yeah, they're
and they're just
not.
making them worse. So
Well, and the thing with Perry and Hubbard is they're not about psychedelics. They're about policy change.
right,
I mean, I shouldn't say they're not about psychedelics. They're about let's get the policy change because these psychedelics are helping. They're not like big psychedelic advocates.
right,
They are really like, let's get the policies of the thing that are working for these people. So, and they're both conservatives. I mean,
yep,
Rick Perry was a conservative, Republican. Hubbard was very conservative. So I think that's why people are listening to them. They're not
yep,
coming from a background of let's
right.
have big parties and do psychedelics. They're coming from a background of, oh my word, I would never even think of this, but it has made huge successful change.
Yeah, that's great. And it's good to hear. So we're now seeing those major headlines about the FDA approving more clinical research. Um, and we talk about how significant that is, the FDA, that's a big deal because, and they've got a stigma around them. I mean, they've, you know, you can think however you like, but some of this stuff is all driven by big money, big
Yep.
pharma, big food, and they'll approve certain things, and even like, and I don't want to get down these rabbit holes, but you know what I'm talking about. They can approve certain things just because there's a lot of money behind it,
Right.
But something like this where there's results, now you can't hide that, So with the FDA involved, what's your thoughts on that? Give me the big picture, how this kind of can shake out with them kind of being the forerunner or the driving the clinical research. Is it a good thing, or is it something that's just going to get bogged down in a lot of red tape?
No, I think it's a good thing. I think it also entices other organizations to get involved.
Right.
Universities, a lot of universities, people aren't aware, have had psychedelic departments for years,
Yeah.
but now they're going to collaborate and join forces and work, and more funding will go into that. So I think the funding is a big thing. And again, you're giving it that higher. Again, pulling the stigma, that higher approval of this is something that works. The FDA, the government is now behind it, is supporting it. It's also a way with the FDA, and if this does get approved, taking these from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, which is very big because someone like me, I work in the underground community. I basically have an illegal business.
Right.
And, people are like, are you afraid? And I'm like, no, I'm not afraid. I see the unbelievable, beautiful results that people get. So I'm just going to keep pushing until someone stops me. But it is hard. It's hard. But now with that, all of this out there in the FDA, I think it just opens the door for other different organizations to jump on. And again, it's all about the money. It's all
Right.
about getting the money, the funding, showing. And then also the other thing is now it's just private money. Like if you come to me for a session, you have to pay for it. This is another way that, especially for veterans who are really
Oh yeah, get the
suffering,
government pay for it.
some government
Yep.
money or insurance or whatever, it's leading that. Because right now, either you're paying for it or you're going through some organization that is raising funds for it.
Yep.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah, and I saw during that press conference they had a few veterans there,
Hmm.
and when these folks who will do anything for their country and kind of went through hell in so many ways are suffering, and there's something there that can kind of benefit them. You can't turn a blind eye to it, even though, and we'll talk about the stigmatism of what psychedelics are. Yes, there is a counterculture. There is kind of a kind of a belief that these things are just recreational or just for people that want to get whacked out. But that's not the case. So I think that really shines a bright light on, taking it away from being like kind of just a recreational, oh, that's just a stoner, to something that, wow, this can be beneficial to many people. So, give me your thoughts on that, like how it really changes the mindset around what these plant medicines are.
Well, I think first off, number one, it gives people hope.
Yes.
A lot of people come to me and they say, I would never do this, you're my last resort. And I feel bad. I feel bad that I have all age groups. 80-year-olds come to me with things. So I think number one, it gives just people like hope that there is an answer out there, because you have people that are trying everything. Not just hope for them, but hope for their families. I work a lot with families, parents that come to me, could be grown addiction, grown children with addiction, or military, mental health issues. So I think it just opens the door to people realizing, sure, if you want to, go have fun at a concert, that's fine. But this is a whole different
Oh
ball
yeah.
game, and this is not fun and easy.
No.
It's just not fun and easy. I really try to give people their expectations up front. I'm like, this isn't like a fun. You're going to be in the woods frolicking. This is hard work that we're going to start now. So
Yep.
but yeah, I think number one, it really gives hope to a lot of people, and it makes them realize like, this isn't just about like people that want to be out partying. This is about real stuff. I mean, look at marijuana. Marijuana helps a lot of people. Helps people sleep. Helps people with depression. Helps
Yep.
people in a lot of ways. It can be very medicinal, and that's been recreational and legal medicinally in many states.
Yeah. And just look at the people walking around homeless. Mental health is a huge issue in this
Huge.
country. And, everything they try to do about homelessness doesn't work. California's thrown billions and billions of dollars, and their homeless population just keeps going up.
Yep.
So it's almost like, why not, let's change it up. Let's do an about face and go down this path, which plant medicines, from a cost standpoint, very affordable, and now you have people that are addicted to opioids, fentanyl, they're walking around like zombies. You put them in these types of therapies, it could be a rebirth of folks that were just down and out, and you just, and people just kind of, kick
Gave
them
up
off to the
on
side.
them. Yeah, gave up on them.
They really did give
Yeah.
up on them, and now maybe this will open the doors for that type of stuff. So, and I know PTSD is a big thing, depression, addiction, anxiety. I think everyone has a little bit of all those things, whether you're
Sure.
addicted to alcohol. This is groundbreaking stuff,
Yeah.
and I know you and I speak from experience because of, what we believe in. I've done my own research, and that's why we're having this discussion, because I'm a big advocate of what you're doing, and I believe in it. So I just think we're just scratching the surface. So there's this whole broader marketplace
Oh,
that's
big
out there.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. I mean, there's people, on a scale of their severity of their issues. But, for some people, they can do a session and just have a renewed life, renewed joy for life. Some people with much more severe issues, it may take some time, but they will get there.
Yep.
But yeah, it just allows people to have an opportunity to get out of that space that they're currently in.
Have you seen it at your level because of what's happened in the news? Are you seeing anything from the folks that you talk to? Are they now getting a little bit more comfortable with maybe kind of, going down this path with you?
Yeah, it's
Or is
funny. It's a transformation. Like a lot of a lot of people come full-fledged ready, and then some people come sort of half ready because again they're kind of desperate. Um, but all of this gives them more comfort, more confidence that because a lot of people feel like I'm out here doing this crazy thing
Right.
and nobody else is, and now it's like nope, the whole world's doing this crazy thing.
Yep.
You just I try to tell people that you don't know because this is such a quiet industry that is not able to be advertised. You're not able to put up a billboard or be on commercials or TV. So you just don't realize how much is going on around you that people are doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that day that came out, I was running a retreat in the Poconos, so my phone was just like ding, 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 and I'm like, oh, what is happening? I'm like, I got people on their mushrooms here. So, but it was, I'm like, all right, everyone, calm down. I know what's happening.
Right.
Like, we can talk about it,
Yeah.
but it's exciting. I mean, it's very exciting for anyone in this community because it gets tough sometimes. You feel like you're just pulling the truck by yourself,
Right.
and it's nice to feel like now we're getting more support behind us, and we're getting, especially when people like those guys Perry and Hubbard and Rogan are like jumping on it. People listen. I mean, these podcasts are
He's got
crazy.
millions of listeners.
Millions.
Yeah.
Like, so people listen.
Yep.
So, and his listeners are primarily very conservative male.
Yes.
So hitting a conservative is to me, that's a very big positive for this because again, there's a lot of people who are very open-minded, very into holistic health, very into whatever works. But that conservative,
Yep.
that was huge to have people like that say, oh, well, maybe because those are also a lot of people maybe running big corporations or corporations that can financially help or corporations that can do something in this realm or join forces with a university or a health system. So it definitely opens a lot of doors for opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what happens. And I think that's why we have to do these more often, because I think in 60 days, there'll be some more news out there, which will be interesting.
Yeah, because the FDA, one of the things with that is the time frame for them to say yay or nay on some of these psychedelic therapies has gone from like 9 months to 2 to 4 months. So that's huge.
Well,
so
that's big.
You're definitely going to see some of the ones that are up there now. You're going to see with less than 6 months that they're going to get approval on for sure.
And I think health professionals, RNs and people that are in the business might also, they'll see a groundswell of people that want to get into that industry too. And people that have, I mean, the healthcare system is what it is. And I know a lot of people in that space. I've been in that space for a long time, and there is a lot broken about it. But, when a kind of a burgeoning industry or a burgeoning plant medicine all of a sudden comes to the forefront and does a lot of great things, that can create a whole nother industry,
Absolutely.
at a huge, at a very, a lot of momentum. And then it can scale pretty quick when you have the people that you're talking about behind it, like big corporations, because they're not going to sit there when there's all these results coming out and all these clinical, results are coming out and say, oh, we don't believe in that. That's BS.
Yeah.
They're going to jump on board.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every plastic surgeon now has a GLP weight loss program. They have a peptide program.
Yeah, exactly.
People, they jump on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we covered a lot of good stuff here. I'm looking at some of these questions I wanted to ask you, but I think we answered a lot. But, there is an important about education and safety and intention. I think you don't go at this half-ass. You have to do your research. You have to understand and talk to people that went through it. It isn't easy. You find out things about yourself and the world that sometimes you didn't even give thought to before. And it does kind of make you more aware. And sometimes that can be a little scary, but it's better to understand that there's a special awareness that kind of can occur, but that helps you through, because I guess it gives you, and I would never think about what it does to a person who has these addictions, because I don't have those addictions, but I can see how it can really change. We talk about the grooves in your brain, the way you think, and there's ruts, and this kind of frees you up from thinking that way, and it really does. And it'd be interesting to see a lot of people. I think some people should really come to the forefront that had these great results. And I know that Ibogaine thing is very difficult. You got to have a nurse there at all times because it can create some issues with your.
Yeah, there's a lot of pre-testing. You have to be
Yeah.
monitored during. It can affect your heart negatively. So that being said, psilocybin session, I do for $750. An ibogaine session is going to be right now. I would say like a $10,000 ordeal
Yeah.
because of the travel, to the pre-workup and the maintaining and the follow-up because of the medical. So the nice thing about them jumping onto ibogaine is trying to get that cost down
Yep.
so that it can be more effective, cost effective, because that is the biggest thing, something I work very hard on. Even though a lot of states have become legal, they charge 7, 8 times what I charge for a session because they have to, because of
Yep.
their fees
They
and
have an
whatever.
infrastructure.
So legality doesn't always mean a positive thing to me at this point. So you always have to think about the cost of this. And I think all of this that's happening will help drive that so this cost can be affordable to the average
Right.
person.
Right. Yeah, and it'll be subsidized, and I think because the other side of the coin is this guy is suicidal. This guy can be a threat to others, or this person, whatever it might be. But there's a big detriment to not going down this path, and it gives everyone another option. And I think that could be pretty valuable, especially like you just said. There'll be economies of scale. Now we'll get this down to a science, and we'll make it more affordable for a lot more folks that kind of want to go down that path. Um, so let's make a recommendation. So for someone completely new to the topic, so say someone sees this article in the newspaper, and maybe they know someone who has some PTSD or whatever it might be. If you're new to this topic, what's the healthiest way to begin learning about without getting overwhelmed? Is there I know your website's great. I love your newsletter that I get once every 2 weeks or once a week.
Yeah, once a week.
We read that all the time, and
Yeah.
I think that's very beneficial. But maybe you can give out your information here in regards to your newsletter. Just get someone's email address, and that's a good way to kind of stay abreast. But are there any like websites that you use to kind of get information on this type of topic?
Yeah, when people come to me with that, I always say, number one, do your research. Go online. My website shows books, movies. Some people don't want to read. Well, go watch a couple. There's some great movies that explain a lot about it. Michael Pollan did an excellent
Yeah.
job with all of his work.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
doing that, and then like everything we do is educational. We do 3 socials a week educational. We do the newsletter once a week educational. There's a lot of newsletters out there. Tricycle Day.
Tricycle Day, what's that?
That's another newsletter.
Oh, okay.
He does. Henry does a couple a week, but that's all he does. He does a newsletter just about psychedelics. That's a very good one. So I just try to give people a couple places to go and look for the information. I always say, be careful,
Right.
especially with like YouTube, because I always tell people, please don't watch
Yeah.
YouTube videos before you come in for a 5 MEO
Wait, we're going to be
session.
putting this on YouTube.
But I'm saying, don't look at. It's like if you're going to have a hip replacement surgery, don't watch it before you go in.
Right,
Don't
right,
put
right.
that in your head.
Right.
Like, let it be your experience. Because the other thing about some of that on YouTube, it's about drama. It's about
Yep.
oh, let's make this as exciting. So I don't want you to have that kind of vision in your head. So again, be careful what you watch and what you read. It's not all accurate, but just again, get out there and get some information. Once you get to one, like say like my newsletter, there's always links to a bunch of other things.
Right.
Tricycle Day, there's always links to other things, and you start to build your what you're getting in weekly of different different retreat centers. They send out, like me, they'll send out newsletters
Right.
with information. So it's everywhere. I mean, just go anywhere and Google, and you'll get it.
Tons of stuff come up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the beginning of medical culture. I agree. We're kind of going down this path, which I think is necessary. But I think I believe there's going to be a lot of momentum. This is like a snowball rolling down a hill,
Yeah.
and
Big time.
states are going to get on board. Big health, like I know John Hopkins already does stuff down in Baltimore.
They've been doing it since the 80s.
So now they'll even step up their game now, because now it's becoming more mainstream. So final question, what gives you the most hope about where this conversation is heading over the next few years? I mean, I think we talked about that, and we can kind of, expand on it. But I just think it opens people's eyes. Even when I talk to people, it's not something that I think people are very curious. I see a lot of curiosity. I went to a networking event and we had talked about this, and people just looked like, wow, that's interesting. Like, you would never think that that would happen, but it is. And once the groundswell happens and all this information comes out, I think this is going to be pretty spectacular in regards to where this all goes.
Well, I think it will give people access. One of the biggest things I hear from people when I go speak somewhere, afterwards they just come in droves and they're like, "Oh my God, my husband, my daughter, myself, I don't they don't know where to go.
Right.
I can't advertise again." So it's word of mouth, it's networking. So people have no idea where to go. When I first started this on my own about 8 years ago, it was like I had to go to other countries to
Right.
do psychedelics. I mean, I had to spend a lot of time and money. There was just nothing here. So it's getting people access to it, without, they just don't know where to go. So I
Right.
think the biggest thing for this will be, it'll open it a little bit more, especially if they can drop those. I know I'm very much on the drug scheduling, but if you can drop those schedules, it opens up a little bit
Oh
more.
yeah.
I mean, I get shut down every year by a credit card company. Oh, you do psychedelics.
Yeah.
I get shut down on Facebook. Oh, you talk about psychedelics. If we could just, my biggest thing is educating.
Right.
I'm not out there necessarily selling. I'm like, educate you. This is what
Yep.
happens. I know people all over the world that do this work that I send people to. If you're in Florida, I have someone. If you're in California, I have someone. If
Yeah.
you're in Mexico, I can send you somewhere. You can fly to me if you want, but my goal is for you to get this care as quick as you can, as cost effective as you can. So yeah, I think access is a very big thing that this will help with.
Yeah, I think so. And just to kind of talk about something that's recent, May 20th, we're going to have a psychedelic parlor
Yep.
right here
Here.
at SoundPlex Studios. So we're going to get this broadcast out, this podcast out right away. But folks that are looking for information, it's a sober event where we just talk about psychedelics. We get a little bit deeper in regards to certain particular issues that people have. It's an open forum. It's a great event that we have here, basically on a quarterly basis.
Yep.
But you're all welcome to come. It's free. It's at SoundPlex Studios in Pennsauken. It's on our website, so check out our website. And Denise's website, you want to talk about that? TooMushLove, right?
TOOMUSH love, TooMushLove.com. Yeah. So all the events that are coming up are on there. And again, a lot of information and all the services are on there.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, thanks for coming again
Oh,
today. All
thank
right. I look
you.
forward to seeing you again next week.
Next week.
And we'll do this on maybe every 30 days or 45 days. We'll come up with a number. Whenever we see news that happens, we like to be spontaneous, because that's what the Plex Collective, we talked about that. We're introducing that, where cameras are always rolling. So if someone's got news, someone's got a new product, a service, or they want to get something off their chest, they come here and they can kind of throw it out there into the community. So I welcome you all the time, Denise.
Thank
great,
you.
great gal and a great
Appreciate it.
business. And look forward to meeting again next week at the Psychedelic Parlor.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
See ya.